well so far. How y'all doing today? Like I said, we got a lot to talk about. TNA Slammiversary 2025. I kind of need to adjust my camera, but I'm afraid to because there's like a short in it. So let's see. A little better? Tiny bit. I'm a little flushed, or wait, no. Opposite way. What the hell? There we go. Maybe there. Okay, now I'm centered. The lights, I'm trying different things with my lighting and everything in my office. Either way, I look like I'm pretty pale regardless, but I look so flushed out. It's a little concerning. I look like a ghost. I swear to God I'm alive, but I think, okay, here we go. Which one is streaming? Okay, I got a couple instances of my streaming program open. I think that's what the issue is here. Okay, close that one. All right. Whew. Okay. Gives people time to file in anyway while they see me live troubleshoot. That's always good. But, yeah, is everybody doing good? Everybody doing fine on this fine Wednesday. I've talked about this off and on for a while. I have been writing a book for years. It's like an epic fantasy type book, and I've been writing it for years, and I just have not been motivated at all lately. I stare at the same page that I've had half written for months, and I just draw a blank. And it's frustrating at this, or it's been frustrating. It's done being frustrating. I need to motivate myself, and I've been so tired and sick lately. It seems to be my life, though. Either way, if we can get pop-ups start coming up, all right, or stop coming up. All right, let's just get into the podcast. Enough of the pleasantries. We're not going to talk about how the weather's doing. Man, I'm hot and sweaty today. Not good. Believe me, not good. But, yeah, let's get right into it, shall we? This is the main event, Mark's Podcast. I am your host, lifelong wrestling fan, former radio guy, cat and dog dad, and happy Slammiversary, baby. Got you on my mind. I am Troy, and I'm sorry about that. I really am. But it's a little shout out to Kevin Nash. If anybody remembers years ago, he did the always got Little River Band loaded up in here. 5-disc changer. And there's a dedication to Greg there. He always used to pop something on the show. Anyway, again, I very much apologize. I did that intro. But anyway, let's just dive into it. We're talking about Slammiversary 2025 today. It's been a while, honestly, since I watched a TNA pay-per-view start to finish. I've seen clips. I follow them on all social media. I've had clips shared with me. Honestly, it was AJ. AJ was what did it for me. I was like, gotta watch it. I was excited to see what they brought to the table. I also like Trick Williams. I wanted to see if he retained his title. I really thought he was going to lose. And I'll talk about that more in the main event when I review it, run it down. But yeah, overall it was a decent show, and I'll cover that. Some people on the internet wrestling community, the IWC, whined and cried, and, there was the usual, I don't know why TNA is the new whipping boy now. Well, I do know. Because they partnered with WWE, and they get WWE people in there now on occasion, or NXT people, whatever. So they've become the whipping boy for AEW. It used to be AEW be like, ha, we're competing with NXT, which is, the minor league developmental brand for WWE, and they acted like they were beating Raw and SmackDown in the ratings, which was nuts. But now they're competing with TNA, which is just sad. They're like, oh, look at these numbers compared to TNA. Dude, who gives a damn? It's TNA, man. A little history about the TNA stuff and this podcast here. We did review. It's now in the archives. We've reviewed a lot of TNA from 2010 and bounced around different eras, but we did review the entire pay-per-view calendar for 2007. That is now in the archives. It was one of my favorite years in TNA history, not because of the pay-per-views. They were not all bangers, but like all the impacts in between, the stuff going on. 2007 was a good year for a very good year for TNA. Pop the top on that. That's for when the good guests come over. You pop a TNA 2007 open. But yeah, Greg and I, who for those brand new to the podcast, he was my co-host and best friend for years. Passed away a few years ago. There's a dedication podcast, a couple dedication podcasts to him now in the archives. But he was my co-host for a long time. We actually bonded originally over our love for TNA because it was hard to find back in the day somebody who actually enjoyed TNA. Now, a mutual friend of ours, Ramon, who was on that dedication podcast, he bonded with Greg over his hate for TNA. So it was a little bit of an opposite there, but Greg and I were big fans of it, and I will stand by that to this day. There was a lot of goofiness. There was a lot of just questionable stuff in early TNA, I'll say. But it had a lot of fun stuff. It was mostly good, but the bad stuff always stands out with the LOL TNA. And to this day, on this pay-per-view, there was an LOL TNA moment. But we'll get to it. But yeah, so TNA is near and dear to my heart. I'm glad that it is back to being TNA and no longer Impact Wrestling. That was so dumb. And I know TNA originally started because Vince Russo, TNA, get it? And makes his little schoolboy whatevers, and he got it past Jerry Jarrett because Jerry Jarrett is old and, was not the smartest dude towards the end of his life, I'll say, but I'm not going to sit here and trash Jerry Jarrett, but I mean, he made a good tater salad, but Vince Russo got it past him, the name TNA, when they started, and ever since then, it was a joke. Like, it was a running joke. It was called TNA. But they've got past that now, and I think, you go with the girl you brought to the dance. You know what I mean? Impact Wrestling sounded worse somehow than Impact Wrestling. So, got that taken care. They've got that fixed, I guess, and they've been TNA for a little while now. But it's cool that they're partnering with WWE, but they're not like, I don't know. I feel like they've got sort of an ECW relationship with them, except I don't think WWE is actively giving them money. I guarantee they're paying the salaries of the NXT people who participate in their shows, but that's about it. They feature their product on NXT. They talk about them. They bring in TNA talents to participate in the Royal Rumble sometimes. It's kind of a feeder system in a way. Not totally, but sort of. But we'll get into the actual show at hand and the ratings, what everybody thought about it, etc. But we've actually got a lot of news and notes to talk about. Two wrestling legends with some health issues, and seems like they're both kicking out, so that's good. One former NXT star that is stepping away from the business as a whole, and we've got the maybe most likely ill-fated real/fake wrestling promotion with Hulk Hogan and Eric Bischoff, and now somebody else that knows a little bit about amateur wrestling and professional wrestling. But let's get into it with the news and notes, shall we? All right. So this has been circulating for a while. I talked about it a couple of weeks ago. Conflicting reports are circulating about Hulk Hogan's health. Radio host Bubba the Love Sponge, if you don't know who he is, good for you. You have went this long in life without knowing that walking poo emoji. But either way, he claims that the 72-year-old wrestling legend is in serious but stable condition at home in a hospital bed, suggesting comfort care after a discreet hospital discharge. Conversely, former WWE star Jacques Rougeau, can't believe he got a mention today, states that he spoke with Hogan's son, Nick, who confirmed that Hogan is recovering well from recent neck surgery. Hogan has been out of the public eye for weeks, leaving fans awaiting an official update amid these contradictory accounts. His wife came out a couple of weeks ago and said Bubba the Love Sponge knows absolutely nothing about her husband's condition, that he's doing better than Bubba claims. Bubba's basically been claiming that he's on death's doorstep. And recent reports said, oh, he can't talk, and this, that, and the other. And Hogan's wife has basically been coming out and it's like, don't listen to Bubba the Love Sponge. And somebody was like, well, I wouldn't believe Hogan's wife either because she's a crazy Scientologist or something. I'm like, I mean, I don't think that has anything to do with, her reporting on her husband's health. So, yeah, I'm sorry. I'm going to believe the firsthand accounts of Hulk Hogan's wife about his health instead of the guy who Hogan had a huge falling out with, about the biggest kind of falling out you could have years ago, who's now going to report on his health condition? Like, how the hell would you know other than, second and third hand? Either way, whatever you think of Hulk, some people are like, man, he said mean things and he's a liar or whatever, so he deserves to pass away in a terrible way. No, I'm sorry. Whatever you think about Hulk Hogan, good for you. I don't really care. He's a legend, and I don't want to see anybody, go out in a terrible way. I'm not that kind of guy, Either way. Another legendary wrestler here, Ric Flair, announced that he is cancer-free after battling skin cancer for the second time in 3 years. The 76-year-old shared his gratitude to the dermatology clinic on social media, posting a photo with bandages from his treatment. This positive update comes after Flair missed recent appearances due to his health, including the Atlanta Comic Convention and a June booking. Despite his health challenges, Flair, who is still under contract with AEW, recently appeared on an episode of Collision to pay tribute to his late friend Steve Mongo McMichael. I did not know he was under AEW contract, so that was news to me. I knew about the skin cancer thing. The surprising thing to me in the story was that he's under AEW contract. Cool. Again, I was unaware. But, good that Flair's kicking out. Again, I said last week or the week before, I said, Ric Flair, not a great guy. I stand by that. But I still, don't want to see him go out like that. My grandmother has dealt with skin cancer since my mother was like a teenager. She's like 90, still dealing with it. It's been a lot, and so it's been like 50 years she's been going through it. Sometimes better than others, sometimes worse than others. Not good. Believe me, not good. But here, this one kind of took me by surprise. I was a little shocked about this just because of different things in the media and floating around the IWC. But former WWE NXT wrestler Elena Black, also known as Cora Jade, has announced that she's taking a break from professional wrestling for the foreseeable future, canceling all upcoming appearances. In a social media statement, Black, or real name Brianna Coda, explained that wrestling is negatively impacting her mental health and she needs to step away to see if her passion for it can return. The 24-year-old, who was released from WWE in May and has since worked on the independent circuit and launched an OF account, I'm going to clean it up for YouTube, also recently spoke out about online criticisms, particularly concerning false claims about her being injury-prone. First of all, just real quick about the censoring myself, calling it OF and whatever. I won't say the full name. People complain about that all the time. I can't remember. It was something about some bad activity somebody forced on another person, bedroom activity somebody forced on another person. So I got to clean it up here. Somebody yelled at me in the comments about that. They were like, just say the word. And I'm like, no. You know why? Because when you do that, you get shadow banned. You get buried in in every imaginable way. You don't get any ads on your videos, all that kind of stuff. That's exactly why people have to speak in the brain rot way that they do on YouTube and basically every other video platform. Moving past that to the actual story, I didn't know she was only 24. That's crazy. That tracks for being on OF, though. Yeah, man, I don't know. She seemed like she was having a good time in the indies. Like, she's been posting a lot of videos and pictures, and I'm doing this, I'm doing that, I'm making good money, I'm going to all these places, and blah, blah, blah. And I have seen she's been getting into some scuffles with people on social media over, people calling her injury prone or talking about her looks or, being on OF or this, that, or the other thing. And she's been, like, cussing people out and, like, really, she feeds the trolls. Instead of just being like, dude, F this guy and move on, she's really been going at him. I'm not saying she has any obligation to ignore people and let them talk trash. I'm just saying you're feeding the trolls. They're like, ooh, because these idiots are like, I know that I can get to her. And so they'll dig and they'll dig and they'll dig because they found a weakness, Whereas I say just ignore them, man. But apparently it's getting to her mentally. Hey, if some people can't handle it, that's not a criticism. That's a reality. I don't know if I could. A lot of people can't. If you can't handle it, yes, by all means, step away. Do yourself some good before it turns nasty. Because we've seen it turn nasty and go a very different sad route with certain people. And I'd hate to see that again. I think we all would. But hopefully, Helena Black, Cora Jade can, get back to it. I will say when she got released from WWE, I was kind of shocked because she was heavily featured for a while. And they seemed to like her in NXT. And when I saw she was released, I was like, oh, okay. Maybe it was the injury thing. I really don't know. I will never know. But either way, any hoozle. Kind of on the periphery of Hulk Hogan here. This is what I was talking about earlier. Two big stories about his real fake wrestling promotion here. Kurt Angle is reuniting with Hulk Hogan and Eric Bischoff for their new venture, Real American Freestyle, an amateur wrestling organization. Angle, a decorated Olympic gold medalist and pro wrestling legend, will serve as a commentator and analyst for the inaugural event on August 30th in Cleveland. Airing on Fox Nation. He expressed excitement to work with Hogan and Bischoff again, stating their experience will make the events more entertaining. Angle also believes that if such a professional league had existed during his amateur career, he might not have transitioned into pro wrestling. And that would have been sad for all of us. I don't see this I don't think it's going to make a dime. It's not going to last more than, I'll give it 2 years. I'll be generous. It might get 2 years out and then gone. But continuing on with that, Hulk Hogan and Eric Bischoff's new Real American Freestyle, or RAF promotion, has secured Fox Nation as its exclusive broadcast partner. The debut event, RAF 01, is set to air on August 30th from Cleveland's Wolfstein Center. The broadcast team will feature wrestling legend Kurt Angle alongside combat sports veteran Chael Sonnen and Bubba Jenkins. Hogan emphasized that Fox Nation aligns with RAF's vision to bring freestyle wrestling to a wider audience, while Angle expressed pride in supporting elite Olympic-style wrestlers. Cool, man. I don't know. Like I said, I don't see this. I don't see this having any legs on it whatsoever. I could be wrong, but this seems like people it's a league not putting this down at all, like, their abilities or whatever. But honestly, it comes across as a league for people who can't make it in the UFC because they don't have the skill set, and they can't make it in pro wrestling because they're not entertaining. That's what it comes across to me. They're like, it's like you're a really good mat wrestler, but to make it in the UFC, you have to be multifaceted. Like, that's why karate guys get their asses kicked 9 out of 10 times. That's why people who are just boxers, if they go up against somebody who's actually skilled, 9 times out of 10 they're going to lose. And it's that way with everybody. Occasionally you'll get somebody that's able to win fights enough because they go up against people who can't defend against one single style. And they'll just, like, if they're a wrestler, they'll take them down and they'll just hump them for like three rounds. And it's like, okay, you won in like the worst fight ever, and nobody cares. This seems like, for people like that. But, we'll see if it goes anywhere. Like I said, my prediction is nah. Moving on to AE Dubs here. Bryan Danielson discussed his surprise involvement at AEW All In Texas on the Nikki and Bree show. I'm assuming that's a podcast. I don't know. Admitting he mostly improvised his physical actions. Did he improvise the Blue Panther mask? Because that was weird. During the main event, Danielson executed a Busaku knee, a suicide dive, and brawled with the Death Riders, surprising even his wife, Bree, who noted their doctor likely thought he was an idiot for his impromptu moves. Despite fan speculation, the text messages to Bree asking if he was returning, Danielson confirmed he is not back to regular wrestling, having not competed since last October, though he has made a few non-wrestling physical appearances since then. Okay, so it was just a one-off run-in for now. He's not back, which sucks, because Danielson's one of the greatest to ever lace up a pair of boots, in my opinion. He adds a lot to AEW, but, I guess he's just not healthy, which, when you get hurt as badly as he did for as long as he was hurt, it's gonna keep popping up every so often, and he's lucky that he's not in a wheelchair. So hopefully he will be back soon. It sucks that he has to again be gone for as long as he was, or it still is, I guess. He chopped all of his hair off, I see. Every time he's like not wrestling, he's like, I'm gonna go back to just like the dad haircut. Just like average everyday Joe haircut. Trim my beard, look like a normal dude. He no longer has like the long hair that he did for a while where he was braiding it and whatever. No cornrows. Moving on, that was the only thing out of AEW. They're pretty light with news right now. TNA wrestler Elijah is sidelined for 6 to 8 months after undergoing left tricep surgery due to an injury sustained during a WWE NXT Trios match on June 17th. So he didn't even get injured in TNA. Cool. In addition, his tag team partner, Trey Miguel of The Rascals, will miss TNA Slammiversary and requires hernia surgery, with no timetable yet for his return. Miguel's spot was filled by Myron Reed, who will now team with Zachary Wentz in a ladder match for the TNA Tag Team Championships. Yeah, it was fine. Sucks that Trey Miguel is out. That blows, but hopefully he recovers quickly and well. Hernia surgery sucks, man. I've never gone through it, thankfully, but I know people who have, and their recovery sucks. And once you get a hernia, that's another one of those where I was talking about with Danielson getting hurt again and again. It's so much easier to get another hernia after you've already had a hernia. So Elijah, I hope he recovers soon. He always gets over. Regardless of his in-ring talent, I think he's very mid in the ring, personally. But he's got a great gimmick. He always gets over. So, cool. He's, I've brainstormed a lot about people who you think, I use the old term, and from, Bruce Pritchard always said this. He would say, and then that damn bell had to ring. Basically, like, they had a great entrance, they got over, got a huge pop, and by God, then that damn bell had to ring. You think of people like the Sandman, I think, is the top of that list. But then you think of, like, Psycho Sid. He wasn't terrible, but his in-ring ability did not catch up ever to his overness and his pop. And then Elijah is a good case of that as well. Super over, always gets big pops, knows how to work the crowd, and then that damn bell has to ring, and he's never put on a banger. I'll say that. Former WWE Hall of Famer JBL revealed that his highly anticipated TNA storyline, which would have played a significant role in the recent Slammiversary event, was unexpectedly canceled. That's a little weird. According to JBL, the decision wasn't his, but rather made by someone no longer with TNA, leading to the abrupt halt of plans he was actively training for. His cryptic appearance in TNA, or appearances in TNA, AAA, and JCW over the past year, often involving simply clotheslining individuals like Joe Hendry and Kazarian, were seemingly building towards his larger, now abandoned storyline. Kind of want to know what the hell is going on. And who was it that put the kibosh to it? Is the only person I can think of off the top of my head was Scott D'Amore, but it's probably not him. But what is this storyline? What was he going to do? Why did they put an end to it and squash it? What was it going to be? I'm just very curious. I don't know. I was interested in it because, yeah, JBL would show up looking like an outlaw, clothesline an MFer, and then leave. Cool. Good stuff, but what the hell are you doing? Like, where's it leading? Are you gonna wrestle? I don't know. But yeah, he was on that AAA show that I reviewed recently, now in the archives, was Triple Mania Regia 3, I think was the number. Anyway, yeah, he was on that show with the heel faction, whatever. I don't know if they have a name, but it was with the Roldan guy, whose name escapes me. Either way, go back in the archives. It's all in there about what he did. This was kind of a big story. I don't know if it's going to go anywhere, but WWE has partnered with Fandango, not the wrestler that's on the show, but the movie ticket place, to bring SummerSlam 2025 to select Regal cinemas nationwide. This marks a new multi-event collaboration, allowing fans to experience the two-night premium live event held August 2nd through 3rd at MetLife Stadium on the big screen with single or bundle ticket options, including an exclusive t-shirt for bundles. SummerSlam will also stream on Peacock in the U.S. and Netflix internationally, featuring major matches like John Cena versus Cody Rhodes and Jelly Roll's in-ring debut. Oh, yeah, that one. Gotta witness that one on the big screen. Big man on the big screen. And, of course, my camera's effing up. There it goes. There it goes. Give me a quick second here. Sorry, trying to fix it. Love it. Love it. Why does it hate me? It's been going so well. Now it's going to take a crap. All right, here we go. Boom. Thank God. Anyway. I don't know how well this is going to go. Theaters are pretty much dead. This is further proof of that. They're like, oh, what if we get WWE in here on it? And Regal Cinemas, I will say this. I don't go there, but they are consistently fairly nice, but they charge like they're consistently nice. But when I look in the parking lots at Regal theaters, they're pretty empty, man. I mean, Cinemark is usually cheaper and has more deals. I think they have a membership thing. Regal, man, they're just pricey. It kind of sucks. But one more story here. Former WWE and AEW star Lana, or CJ Perry, is co-writing a fictional novel titled Bulletproof Angel with author and screenwriter Blake Northcutt. This high-octane international spy thriller will feature a CIA agent and her retired operative mother working together to stop an AI-powered weapon. This project is part of Paradigm's new book-to-film initiative, with Perry expressing her long-standing interest in espionage stories and building a world around strong female operatives. While Lana's recent re-signing with WWE under a Legends deal, her husband Rusev made his return to Raw after WrestleMania 41. Okay, so they're still married. I know they split for a while, but I didn't know if they officially got divorced and then got back together. Or, apparently, they just got separated, but got back together. Good for them. But oh man, we need more strong female characters in literature and film. Let me tell you, there's not enough of that, and it goes over well every single time. By God, that's money in the bank right there, baby. I mean, good for her, whatever. I was just talking about, before the stream started, I was talking about trying to finish a book of mine. So cool, but she's co-writing it. I don't know what all that entails for her, but cool, I guess. Anyway, that's all I got for the news and notes. Let's get into the event, shall we? All right. Event review. Here we go. It's TNA Slammiversary 2025. Took place July 20th, 2025 at the UBS Arena in Elmont, New York. Don't ask me where Elmont is. I'm not familiar with New York outside of the city. The attendance was 7,623. Not bad. We'll get to the... it's an attendance record. We'll get to that a little later in the show when they announce it. It was something. But we start off the show with a little girl singing the U.S. national anthem. Then, women stand on the stage with Order 4 flags, and the Order 4, along with their Secret Service, comes out onto the ramp. This first match is Mustafa Ali with the Order 4 in his corner, taking on Cedric Alexander in 14 and a half minutes. No belts on the line. Nothing's on the line, really, except for pride. I guess Cedric Alexander has repeatedly beaten Mustafa Ali, and Mustafa's looking for a win, finally. So, we're literally opening one of TNA's biggest shows of the year with a 205 Live match. Awesome. At least they're, making them seem like they matter here, because I think they're both talented. I never thought these two were untalented. I'll say that. This is a better spot for them than in WWE. In WWE, they were going to get... Oh, gosh. All right. I will get back to that point here in just a minizzle. Hana Kimura was a Japanese professional wrestler and reality television star. The daughter of professional wrestler Kyoko Kimura, she was a second-generation wrestler who debuted in 2016. She competed for promotions such as World Wonder Ring Stardom and Wrestle 1 in Japan, and also made appearances for international companies like Ring of Honor and Pro Wrestling Eve. During her career, she held multiple championships, including the Artist of Stardom Championship and Goddess of Stardom Championship. She also won the 2019 5-Star GP Tournament and the Stardom Fighting Spirit Award. In September 2019, Kimura joined the cast of the reality television series Terrace House Tokyo 2019 to 2020, which aired on Fuji Television on Netflix. Her vibrant personality and signature pink hair made her a popular figure on the show. However, her appearance on Terrace House led to a torrent of online bullying and hateful comments, particularly after an incident where she confronted a housemate for accidentally shrinking one of her wrestling costumes. The online harassment intensified, with Kimura reportedly receiving nearly 100 negative comments daily, including messages telling her to die or disappear. On May 23, 2020, at the age of 22, Hana Kimura died by suicide due to hydrogen sulfide inhalation at her Tokyo apartment. Shortly before her death, she posted troubling images and messages on social media indicating the severe impact of the cyberbullying that she was experiencing. Her death sparked widespread mourning in the wrestling community and beyond, raising significant concerns about cyberbullying and its devastating consequences. In response to her death, Japan's parliament passed a new online insults law in June 2022. The Kansas City Police Department has completed their criminal investigation into the Owen Hart death from just, not too long ago, and no charges will be filed. This wasn't even a full 3 months after the tragic death of Owen Hart, so Vince McMahon is still doing interviews about it on, like, TSN and places like that.
Probably getting dragged around on TSN, too.
Yeah, I mean, they didn't pull any punches with him. That's for sure. And, I mean, we know this isn't the end of it. Martha Hart would file a wrongful death lawsuit, and I think she won, didn't she? Didn't they say that on...
I'm pretty sure they settled, but that's good enough.
Yeah, so she got enough money out of it. She said it was just enough money. She started the Owen Hart Foundation. So, I mean, some good came about it. And like we pumped this show many times. Definitely go back and watch season 2 of Dark Side of the Ring. They did an amazing episode. If anybody has any bad thoughts on Martha Hart and has any weird feelings about the kids and how they're feeling, go back. They talk about their feelings themselves, and you get a whole new perspective on it. Some of the stuff was very eye-opening for me. I don't know about you.
It was tough to watch.
It was. But you definitely get a sense of why Martha and her kids feel the way they do. Stevie Richards also signs with the WWF this month. He would soon come in and do the right to censor crap.
You know I hated it, but at the same time, looking back at it, I thought that was really good.
Yeah, I mean, the gimmick was different. It was, the whole thing was a troll. Like, they were trolling, there was a, I think it was PTC.
Yeah.
Like, Parent Teacher Coalition or something like that. So they were trolling them because they kept up at WWF every week about the content on Raw and SmackDown. Well, not SmackDown during this time.
Yeah.
But on Raw. And it was a big thing.
Because, you can't just turn the TV off and tell your kid, don't watch this.
Yeah, don't be a responsible parent and say, quit watching this. Like, yeah, is it filthy? Sure. But, I don't know. I've always been one of them. Like on Facebook. If I don't like it, I just keep scrolling and ignore you. I don't know. That's a forgotten or a lost concept on a lot of people.
I have friends with kids, and I've literally watched them say, no, okay, and that's it. That's it.
Right. Yeah,
not write notes. Not go all Karen to. FCC
how dare you let others watch this? Stevie Richards also signs with the WWF this month. He would soon come in and do the right to censor crap.
I hated it, but at the same time, looking back at it, I thought that was really good.
Yeah, I mean, the gimmick was different. It was, the whole thing was a troll. Like, they were trolling, there was a, I think it was PTC.
Yeah.
Like, Parent Teacher Coalition or something like that. So they were trolling them because they kept up at WWF every week about the content on Raw and SmackDown. Well, not SmackDown during this time.
Yeah.
But on Raw. And it was a big thing.
Because, you can't just turn the TV off and tell your kid, don't watch this.
Yeah, don't be a responsible parent and say, quit watching this. Like, yeah, is it filthy? Sure. But, I don't know. I've always been one of them. Like on Facebook. If I don't like it, I just keep scrolling and ignore you. I don't know. That's a forgotten or a lost concept on a lot of people. I
have friends with kids, and I've literally watched them say, no, okay, and that's it. That's it.
Right. Yeah.
Not write notes. Not go all Karen to. FCC
how dare you let others watch this? Vince McMahon is doing press around this time promoting then Minnesota Governor Jesse Ventura will be the special guest referee for the main event at the upcoming SummerSlam show. And it's going to be a big historic thing. What was the main event? Off the top of my head, I can't remember.
It was Austin, Triple H, and Mick Foley.
Oh, there you go. Just because of the historic, nature of this, Jesse around this time was also getting tons and tons of questions. How are you getting paid? What are you doing with the money? Why are you doing this? You're a sitting governor. And just, he's being dragged daily in the press for doing this.
Well, didn't he run as like an independent?
I don't remember.
I feel like he did. And I feel like that was a huge thing. Like no one liked that an independent won that.
Yeah. It was shocking, and it's not like, he's Jesse the Body Ventura, sure, historic, and, he's legendary and all that, but at the same time, you got to think he'd been out of the limelight for a long time with wrestling when he ran and won the governorship. So it's not like it was fresh in everybody's mind, like, oh yeah, I saw you in the garden,
I think a lot of people remember, too, that he like literally just sued them like a couple years prior.
Right. Yeah, and Uncle Dave in the Wrestling Observer newsletter made sure to point out all the things that, now that he has a deal signed with WWF, all the about faces on issues that Ventura had been doing in the press. And apparently...
I didn't mean any of it.
Right. Well, apparently he also supposedly got paid about $100,000 that he said he would be donating to charity in full. And I don't know if it came out after that or if Dave was saying that but they were saying it's like, well, he got paid much more than $100,000 to do this. So not all that money's going to charity. But again, speculation, I believe. I haven't seen, anything official about it. Vince McMahon is doing press around this time promoting then Minnesota Governor Jesse Ventura will be the special guest referee for the main event at the upcoming SummerSlam show. And it's going to be a big historic thing. What was the main event? Off the top of my head, I can't remember.
It was Austin, Triple H, and Mick Foley.
Oh, there you go. Just because of the historic, nature of this, Jesse around this time was also getting tons and tons of questions. How are you getting paid? What are you doing with the money? Why are you doing this? You're a sitting governor. And just, he's being dragged daily in the press for doing this.
Well, didn't he run as like an independent?
I don't remember.
I feel like he did. And I feel like that was a huge thing. Like no one liked that an independent won that.
Yeah. It was shocking, and it's not like, he's Jesse the Body Ventura, sure, historic, and, he's legendary and all that, but at the same time, you got to think he'd been out of the limelight for a long time with wrestling when he ran and won the governorship. So it's not like it was fresh in everybody's mind, like, oh yeah, I saw you in the garden,
I think a lot of people remember, too, that he like literally just sued them like a couple years prior.
Right. Yeah, and Uncle Dave in the Wrestling Observer newsletter made sure to point out all the things that, now that he has a deal signed with WWF, all the about faces on issues that Ventura had been doing in the press. And apparently...
I didn't mean any of it.
Right. Well, apparently he also supposedly got paid about $100,000 that he said he would be donating to charity in full. And I don't know if it came out after that or if Dave was saying that but they were saying it's like, well, he got paid much more than $100,000 to do this. So not all that money's going to charity. But again, speculation, I believe. I haven't seen, anything official about it. All right, sorry about that. Those that have been following the streams long enough and more consistently, excuse me, you'll know I have to take work calls every once in a while, and unfortunately that means the stream gets absolutely de-freaking railed. So, nothing I can do about it, unfortunately. I do what I can do. But the live streams won't be lasting much longer because I'm about to get into my work busy season, and I will have 0 time to stream. But anyway, getting back into this, real quick to wrap up. that last match and everything. Ali and Alexander are definitely talented. They've always been talented, but they got buried under everything in WWE. They were not stars that would stand out in WWE. I think TNA is a good spot for them. The X Division is a good spot for them. They actually make the X Division matter in TNA. So, there you go. But either way, Joe Hendry is backstage being interviewed by Gia Miller. Joe says that he's psyched that they're in New York and says that tonight he'll become a 2-time TNA World Champion. Well, about that. Spoilers, I know. But up next, it is a trios match, 3-on-3. I forgot to write down the names of one of the teams here, but doesn't matter. Anyway, it's the system of Brian Myers, JDC, and Eddie Edwards with Alicia Edwards, and Matt Cardona as well. So I'm sorry, it's an 8-man tag match. I can't count. They're taking on Dark State, and it's just 4 dudes. Does anybody know their names at this point? I know some of them have their names on their gear. I don't know who any of these guys are. I think they're like barely out of training. I know one of them is from LFG, I guess. That's literally all I know about them. And they pop up every once in a while doing their... What was that group that Ali led for a bit? I don't even remember. That stupid group that was like a knockoff Antifa and combined with the Shield, but much less lame. Every time they do this same gimmick, it gets lamer and lamer as it goes on. Because first it was Shield, then it was whoever... Retribution. That was it. It was the Retribution. Now it's Dark State. Okay, bro. But either way, this goes for 6 minutes, 43 seconds. Oh, I forgot to give my ratings for the last match. I'll do that here in a second. But real quick, there are a lot of triple and double team moves going on in this one. In the end, Saquon Sugars gets hit with radio silence from Matt Cardona, and then the Boston Knee Party from Eddie Edwards for the win for the system. CageMatch.net gave this 2.25 stars. I gave it 2.5. I mean, it didn't suck. I just didn't give a damn about it, and you could tell who the stars were. This was just, a reason to get them on the card is all it was. There was nothing major about this. And like I said, the match goes for less than 7 minutes. Nobody gave a damn. The first match, I forgot to say, Ali and Alexander. So CageMatch.net really freaking liked it. They gave it 3.75 stars. I gave it 2.5. I thought it was average, especially for them. I mean, it was fine. Oh, I know why I didn't give the ratings, because I didn't review the match at all. So we're all over the damn map here. So let's get. I got so derailed by that phone call. I forgot to review the match. So audio listeners are not going to hear this part because I'm going to edit the crap out of this, and I'll talk about audio here in a bit. But anyway, it is Mustafa Ali with the Order 4 taking on Cedric Alexander. This one went 14.5 minutes. As I said, we open one of TNA's biggest shows of the year with a match that was on 205 Live. At one point, Alexander does a Michinoku driver off the top rope onto Ali's security outside of the ring. That was pretty cool. Ali gets back body dropped onto the steel steps later on. Again, pretty cool. That spot had to suck. Of course, the Order 4 gets involved a lot behind the referee's back, but Alexander kicks out of a 450 splash. Tasha Steele fights with the ref until getting kicked out from ringside. Ali kicks out of a lumbar check. Tasha Steele comes back and gets a lumbar check of her own, but that sets up Alexander for a 450 splash, and Ali gets the win. And like I said, CageMatch.net gave this 3.75 stars. They really freaking liked it. I gave it 2.5. It was average. It was fine. I don't know. Nothing spectacular. Moving on here, skipping ahead because we already talked about Joe Hendry backstage. We talked about the 8-man tag. We now get an injury report up next for Casey Navarro and Elijah. They also, I think they talked about the member of the Rascals whose name escapes me now. I'm sorry, I don't watch enough. I know I literally talked about it in the news segment, and I already forgot. But yeah, anyway. Gia Miller interviews Tim Malcolm from 90 Day Fiancé at ringside. I'm really embarrassed to say I recognize the guy, sort of. But either way, he talks about how much he apparently loves TNA, and he's loved it for 20 years. Cool, dude. My God, TNA has never gotten over this. Oh my God, this guy is like moderately famous somewhere else. Let's get him and feature him. Like, not just be like, oh, he's in the crowd, but feature this guy. By the way, somebody tell me if they saw this. Behind him, like 2 rows back, I think Tracy Brooks is in the crowd, like 3 rows back or something like that. I was like, is that Tracy Brooks or a lookalike? I don't know. Either way, up next, it is Tessa Blanchard with Victoria Crawford. What was her name in WWE? She was there forever. Alicia Fox. Apparently she's in TNA now after being MIA for years. But she's back now. She's with Tessa Blanchard for reasons. I'm assuming she's with Tessa Blanchard, 1, to get more TV time, 2, to help Tessa Blanchard beat those racism charges. But she's taking on Indy Hartwell, another former WWE person. This goes for just shy of 15 and a half minutes. There are a few big moves and near falls. They really went at each other in this one, to be honest with you. Tessa would do great in WWE. I know the IWC cries, whatever. I really don't think the average person knows or cares about Tessa's past and whether or not it's true. And how long does she have to, like, be on the outskirts of, like, you know, do we just forever cast her into the outer darkness where there is wailing and gnashing of teeth? We just banish her to St. Helena forever? Like, I'm sorry. Like, she's talented. She looks great. She's got a pedigree to her. I think she'd do well in WWE. I really think she would. She's not going to AEW. That's not happening anymore. At one point, that would have been a possibility, but their fans are the IWC, so they would eat her up and just not accept her. Either way. But in the end, Indy hits a full Nelson facebuster into the ropes and then into the mat and gets the win. CageMatch.net only gave this 2.25 stars. I actually gave it 3 stars. It wasn't amazing. In the past couple of weeks, I've seen many better women's matches, but this was good. It was fine. It was good. I liked it. Not bad. But Gia Miller interviews Indy Hartwell outside of the ring, asking what's next. Indy says that she just beat a former world champion, and then before she can say much more, she gets attacked by Tessa. Gia Miller tries to get in between them and gets beat down by Tessa instead. And her face gets grinded into the steel steps and all that. This was crazy. But, yeah, and then Victoria, while she's doing this, Victoria Crawford's holding Hartwell back. So, yeah, that's something, man. I was like, whoa. But this does have a payoff right here. Oh, I forgot it was right up next because they go to like commentary and I'm blanking on names today, man. But the guy that used to be in the wasn't it Adrian something or other or Aiden something whatever. I don't know what his real name is that he goes by in TNA now. But he was one half of the Vaudevillains. He's on commentary for TNA. He was like all distraught over Gia Miller being hurt. I was like, dude, you're acting like your wife just got beat up. Whatever. But he's actually married to Saul Guerrero. Eddie's daughter. Yeah, he's married to her. But backstage, Santino Marella goes off on Tessa Blanchard and Victoria Crawford. Tessa tells Santino that he's nothing more than a stooge. He doesn't run anything. And Santino gets angry. He puts on his angry eyes. And he gets security to take Tessa out. They literally pick her up over their shoulder and carry her ass out. Yeah. So she gone for now. He'll talk about her again in the show, and I'm wondering if this is her out to go to WWE. But we'll see. We shall see. But major production fail up next. Typical LOL TNA. As they go to Elegance brand backstage, and they're there, they're getting set, they're getting ready, and they give them the countdown, count them in, and they're like, and action. And then they start, like, acting and whatever. Crazy. We've seen this before from TNA. It is 2025. We're still getting this. And, like, they've learned nothing. They're working with WWE, still doing this garbage. Okay, whatever. But anyway, the crowd clocks this, by the way, and they just boo the piss out of this segment. You can't hear anything. The Inspiration now approaches them, and I can't really understand anything being said in the promo, but I think that the Inspiration is challenging Elegance brand to a match on Impact, and the male member of the Elegance brand says that he'll talk to Santino about this. I don't know what was being said. I don't know this guy's name. The only one I know is Ash by Elegance or whatever, which is the former Dana Brooke. I don't know the other blonde's name. Don't know the dude's name. I don't know. But either way, up next is another women's match. Back-to-back women's matches, man. We get JC Jane with Fatal Influence in her corner versus Masha Slamovich. It is for the NXT and TNA Knockouts women's titles. Winner take all. This one goes 12 minutes 40 seconds. WWE Hall of Famer and trainer Johnny Rodz is at ringside. Apparently he trained Masha. He's trained a lot of big stars in his day. He trained Devon Dudley. But after the initial spurt from Slamovich, Fatal Influence keep Jane in control. TNA wrestlers are shown watching the monitor backstage, pulling for Slamovich, because the storyline is, well, our world title is already on, or like the men's world title is already on a WWE guy, so we don't want the women's title also on a WWE woman. So yeah, that's I guess that's the storyline, but they don't make reference to this ever again, which kind of, it was weird. They should have had them, like, shown them watching the world title match. They didn't. It was just the women's match. I don't know. But anyway, JC Jane keeps trying to use the NXT women's title, but the ref takes it. While the referee's distracted, Jane uses the TNA women's title to hit Slamovich, but only gets a near fall. Xia Brookside and Lei Ying Lee, try saying that 5 times fast, run out to take out Fatal Influence. She's the former Xia Li, if anybody remembers, from WWE. But Jane accidentally super kicks the referee. Slamovich hits Jane with the snowplow and only gets a near fall when a new referee runs out. In the end, JC Jane hits a rolling elbow slam on Masha Slamovich for the win. Okay, that was something. I actually gave it 3 stars. I thought this was a pretty damn good match. I enjoyed it. CageMatch.net, however, only gave it, they were close. They gave it 2 3/4 of a star. I don't do quarter stars, but yeah, it was a good match. JC Jane is not bad at all. I don't think she's amazing, but she's not bad. Her acting, her facials, they're good. Her wrestling is not bad. Slamovich, I think, is really good. She's got a unique look to her. She's good in the ring. She's tough. She's good stuff. I don't know about the name Masha Slamovich, but, whatever. It's very gimmicky, obviously, but it is what it is. Suplex in the chat. I hope you like and subscribe, man. Tune in for more and check out the archives. And that's actually a good segue here. I'm going to do this real quick and then segue into that. JC Jane celebrates with both women's titles, world titles, as the commentary team acts stunned and horrified. We'll get back to the show here in a bit, but this is a good time as any to say, hey, if you want to watch the video, see the video archives, they are on YouTube at youtube.com/@MarksOnMedia. Or if you want to check them out on Rumble, it's rumble.com/C/MarksOnMedia, or excuse me, main event marks. And I finally changed it in the corner of my my screen here, right around here. It's rumble.com/C/main event marks. I do have Marks on Media as well. /C/Marks on Media. You can check that out. That's all my Marks on Media stuff. Follow me on X and Instagram at Marks_on_media. And I am on Facebook, facebook.com/MarksOnMediaTube. Also, if you want to hear the audio version of the podcast, I am available wherever the hell you get podcasts. This gets edited down. All the bull crap gets edited out. It sounds a lot prettier. So if you want to go check that out audio-wise, I would appreciate that as well. And check out my Substack, where I got all my show notes. I'm putting more up there every week. It is, I'll tell you here in just a second. I should have had that ready, but it's maineventmarks.substack.com. So check out maineventmarks.substack.com. You can see my show notes and video notes and all that good stuff. I put it all out there, and I'd like to converse with you, what you think about the shows I cover, and also the dark side of wrestling history. I put that stuff up there as well. Getting back to the show here. Backstage, after losing on the pre-show to the hometown man, Eric Young is going off on his two trainees. He says things are about to change. I don't follow a lot of TNA now, so I don't know who these two guys are with Eric Young. I've always liked Eric Young. He's just steered full on into that crazy man gimmick for a while now, and I like it. He used to be like the stupid crazy kind of thing where, he's like, haha, look, he's kind of dumb and crazy, I thought that was really lame. But I do have a figure of him back when he had the blonde faux hawk, and he was calling himself Showtime Eric Young and whatever. Yeah, I got a figure of that. He had the Don't Fire Eric shirt. Yeah. Anyway, the attendance was announced by commentary at 7,623, which is the most ever for a North American show for TNA. That's sad. That's the point I wanted to make. This is the biggest attendance TNA has ever had in North America? Like, what? I was unaware of that. I thought they at least drew 10,000 in the past, but apparently not. Not in North America. In England they did, I'm sure. Wow, this was bad, man. So, I don't know. Then again, people were comparing it to AEW's last Grand Slam that only drew like 8,000. So, not far off. Up next, though, is one of the better matches of the night. It is Moose defending the X Division title against Leon Slater. Goes just shy of 16 minutes. This was a great battle of power versus speed and agility. Slater kicks out of a spear, dodges another, hits a series of moves into a 450 splash for a near fall. In the end, Slater hits a swanton bomb and then a 450 splash for the win. Good stuff. Good crap, pal. CageMatch.net really liked it. They gave it 4.25 stars. I gave it 3.5 stars. I didn't think it was quite 4. But it was good. I like both of these guys. Moose is fantastic. Leon Slater is really good. I think he's got a bright future in the business. After the match, Leon Slater hugs his mom, sister, and girlfriend in the front row and celebrates with them for a minute. Carlos Silva then gets in. I don't know who Carlos Silva is. I guess he's the TNA president, whatever. I think that's what they said. It reminds me of when does anybody remember when Kerry Silkin used to sit at ringside for ROH shows, and he was very involved, even though he wasn't really in Power anymore? It was just like, oh, he's the founder of ROH, so he's here, you know? And he would present titles and all that stuff, and, oh, it's Kerry Silkin, cool. But, yeah, so Carlos Silva, he gets in the ring and presents the X Division title, but Moose rips it away from him and straps it around Slater's waist himself. He gives Slater a pep talk and then leaves. Just then, Get Ready to Fly plays, and AJ Styles makes his entrance. I was so happy that they actually used his TNA theme and they didn't use his WWE one. Oh, it hit me in all the feels, man. But the crowd was so loud you could barely hear it. AJ is back, man. But the crowd sings along with his theme and blows a roof off the venue. AJ shakes Slater's hand and then grabs a mic to say that TNA is where he made his name and he's happy to be back. He then says that Leon Slater earned the X Division title. The fans chant for one more match, but Styles keeps putting Slater over, telling him not to just make history, but to make a legacy. They celebrate together before leaving. AJ did say when they were chanting one more match, he was like, yeah, we'll get back to that one more match thing. So I'm really hoping we get one more match. I would love to see him versus Kazarian's making an ass of himself in TNA. I would love to see Kazarian versus AJ one more time in TNA. I know they're kind of building it up with Kazarian's got his feud with Tommy Dreamer, but I don't know. I think it'd be cool. Well, for the next match, First Class gets wrapped to the ring by someone named 3-0 Black. That doesn't even make sense, but whatever. Dumb name. But the next match is the Nemeths, which are Nick and Ryan Nemeth. They're taking on the Rascals, Zachary Wentz and Myron Reed, versus First Class, which is AJ Francis and KC Navarro. I guess he wasn't that hurt. And the Hardys, Matt and Jeff Hardy. It is a ladder match for the TNA World Tag Team titles. This was very entertaining, and I've always talked major crap on Top Dollar, AJ Francis, but he has a spot in TNA. This is another one with them where he sucked in WWE. TNA kind of fits him. He's doing well there, and he's literally a big fish in a small pond because there are a lot of smaller guys there, so he can be a giant, and that's where he shines. But this went for 16 minutes, 45 seconds. Very weird match, but very cool. We get a jump start as the Nemeths, wearing camo, bring a ladder to the ring and just start the battle. There are a lot of crazy spots in this from everyone. TNA loves their Z-level celebrities and their baseball stars. We already got a Z-level celebrity, so now Ryan Nemeth starts crap with Johnny Damon at ringside. Famous for, winning World Series with the Red Sox, and I know he was on the Yankees for a while. I think he won a World Series with them. I don't remember. But he was on the Yankees towards the end of his career. And he definitely won World Series with the Red Sox, at least one. But anyway, Ryan has been held back by Nick. Cool. Johnny Damon, whatever. AJ Francis moonsaults off the ladder onto everyone at one point. That was actually pretty cool. First Class gets dumped off the ladders onto some that were laid out outside the ring. They were kind of like draped on the ring and something else they had set up outside. It was kind of scary for Francis because he wasn't like high enough up the ladder when he got dumped over, so he had to jump off the ladder over the top rope, and he came down with his legs in the rungs of the other ladder, and luckily it didn't like break his freaking legs. It went over about as well as it could have went over, so he's okay, everybody. Let me see. Jeff Hardy lays the Rascals onto ladders outside of the ring and hits 2 swanton bombs onto them, one right after the other, just squishing those mother effers. Since the ladders are all broken, every single one of them, Matt goes backstage to look for one. Meanwhile, Jeff asks a production dude to drop a rope ladder from the rafters. Awfully convenient. Why that's there, I don't know. Specifically for the spot. That's why. Quit asking questions. Shut the F up. Anyway, the Nemesis brawl with the Hardys over the rope ladder now. The Hardys hit double twists of fate they put their heads between a chair. Like they open the chair, put their heads in it, and then they hit the twist of fate. So there you go. But they did that on both of the Nemesis. And then Jeff climbs a rope ladder, pulls down the titles for the win. The one title did not want to come off. He's up there for like ever trying to rip that one off. But that's it. The Hardys win. They're the new champs. CageMatch.net gave it 3.25 stars. I give it 1.5. I give it 3.5. 1.5. God. But yeah, 3.5 stars. I thought it was a very entertaining match. But that just sets up for this segment here. Right after the match, Team 3D's theme hits. Not the Bully Ray theme, the Team 3D theme. And Bully Ray comes out to congratulate the Hardys. He puts the Hardys and Dudleys over, talking about their history, and then he challenges the Hardys to a match at TNA Bound for Glory 2025. They shake on it, and the Hardys celebrate. Devon is a podcaster now, and I know Bully is still trying to stay relevant and whatever. Good for him, I guess. You know, gotta make a living somehow. But man, we're getting the Dudleys and the Hardys in the year 2025 at the biggest show for TNA of the year. All right, man. Hopefully it's memorable in a good way and not in a, oh my God, we're about to see this kind of way. People were comparing it to the Brothers of Destruction versus DX in Saudi Arabia. Like, ooh, please no. Please no. But we'll see. I will be watching. I'll watch Bound for Glory. Should be good. And I should be live streaming again by that point. So I'll review it. I'll do it. But my question is, are they going to, because he called them the Dudleys and talked about the Dudleys and the Hardys or whatever. Is WWE going to allow them to use the Dudley name? Because the screen said Team 3D when he came out, the Tron. And they came out to the Team 3D theme, or he did. So what is it going to be? Is he going to come out to the Team 3D stuff? Or is he going to be Brother Ray? Or is he going to be Bubba Ray Dudley? I guess we'll see. It would be cool to get ENC in there as well, but obviously they're both in AEW doing their thing. So, but Devon Dudley is here's a news story I waited until now to put into the show. Devon Dudley is set for his definitive final match at TNA Bound for Glory this October, where the Dudley boys will face the Hardys. Despite a stroke in 2020 and spinal surgery in 2022, yikes. Devon feels physically ready after significant weight loss and regular training at his wrestling school. He insists this will be his last bout, emphasizing he's not looking for a comeback run at 50, and trusts only Matt and Jeff Hardy for his ultimate farewell match. Okay, man, I hope all the best for you, Devon. I really freaking do. It would have been cool for him and Devon to come out during this, but, you know, whatever. Either way, I'll still be watching it. But up next, Santino Marella comes out onto the stage with Tessa and says that Tessa Blanchard has been suspended indefinitely. So that's why I'm saying that might be her out to go to WWE. We'll see. He then asks a couple of guys, who I don't know who the hell they are, and Tommy Dreamer, who they think will win the main event. Before Dreamer can answer, I always hate these segments, by the way. This dates back all the way to the NWA days, and I'm like, why do I care what, Dusty... Why do I care what Don Kernodle thinks about who's going to win between Dusty Rhodes and Ric Flair? Like, I don't give a damn. But either way, yes, Don Kernodle got a mention on this podcast. But before Dreamer can answer, Frankie Kazarian comes out onto the stage to berate them. He then says that he's going to join the commentary team for the main event. Oh, man, he's very easy to hate. He's got that douche boy energy. Or what do they call it? F-boy now? But Mike Santana has an entrance all the way through the crowd while some chubby Puerto Rican guy raps in the ring. I don't think they gave the guy's name. It was actually a pretty cool and pretty sweet entrance, but the camera guy trips behind Santana at one point, almost biffs it. I was like, oh man. They had to switch cameras real quick because he damn near ate it. But Trick Williams then has a black chorus repeatedly chanting "Whoop that trick" on the stage for his entrance. Cool. It was actually annoying, to be honest with you. But up next, it is the main event. It's a triple threat for the TNA World Heavyweight Championship. Trick Williams defends against Joe Hendry and Mike Santana. This goes 13 minutes, 15 seconds. Santana and Hendry double-team Trick to begin the match, which is to be expected. In my personal opinion, Mike Santana should have won this one. He doesn't, by the way. Spoiler. Hendry ends up hitting the standing ovation on Trick and has him dead to rights, but Kazarian pulls the referee out before he can count to 3. The ref ends up ejecting Kazarian from ringside. Trick gets hurt on the outside and has to get medical attention. While this is happening, Santana kicks out of the standing ovation in the ring. Santana then hits 2 spin the blocks on Hendry. Trick rushes in, tosses Santana out of the ring, and pins Joe Hendry to retain the title. I gave this 3.5 stars. CageMatch.net did not like it. They gave it 1.5. I can't believe that at all. 1.5 freaking stars. I liked this match. Hendry did his thing. Trick Williams is great. He's a star. Mike Santana, I think, is fantastic. I think he could be a star if pushed the right way. I don't get it, man. But after the match, Trick Williams shows that he was faking his injury the whole time as Carlos Silva hands him the TNA World title. The show now comes to a close with Trick celebrating on the stage. Final ratings time. Internet Movie Database does not have a rating for this one, but CageMatch.net hated it. Some people think it got review bombed by AEW nerds and freaks, so, I mean, that's very possible. But Cage Match gave it 3.47 out of 10. I gave it a 7 out of 10. I didn't think it was fantastic. Like the people saying, oh, it was better than AEW's pay-per-view, All In. I think that's cope. It was not. It was a fine show, and that's it. Just a fine show. Nothing more, nothing less. But anyway, any hoozle, that does it for that one. That's it, man. That was the show. I don't know what I'm going to do next week for a show. There's no wrestling coming up that I know of. What are the upcoming, let's see, upcoming wrestling pay-per-views? Anything? Let's take a look here. SmackDown Hotel usually has everything listed. I don't know if I'll stream next week. I'm going to be out of town this week. SummerSlam is August 2nd, so that'll be a big show. I don't know if I'm going to be able to stream for that one. I'll try to do an audio version of the podcast for that, but that's about it. Let's see. Yeah, so SummerSlam in 2 weeks, and then Slammiversary just happened, obviously. That's all that it's showing. SummerSlam. Huh. I don't know. I'm sure there's stuff coming up. We'll figure it out. But for now, I'm not seeing anything this weekend. So I may just do another Dark Side of Wrestling history for next week's show. I don't know if it'll be streamed or if I'll just post it. But either way, it will be in audio form if you want to check it out on there. I will ask you again, if you're not following or subscribed on YouTube, please check me out there. It's youtube.com/@MarksOnMedia. There is a whole playlist of audio or video forms of the podcast archives dating all the way back to 2020. And It's a lot of show reviews that Greg and I did. I've done with other people. I've done by myself. You can check them all out there. You can also check out most of the archives are up on Rumble. It's rumble.com/C/main event marks. Or if you want to check out the main event or the Marks on Media stuff, all that's up there. It's rumble.com/C/Marks on Media. You can follow me on X and Instagram at Marks_on_media. Or on Facebook, it's facebook.com/MarksOnMediaTube. The podcast is available everywhere you get audio podcasts. So it's a lot more cleaned up and condensed. And I try to make it sound a lot better in audio form only because you're not getting visuals. So I do the best I can with it. Thank you all for putting up with me today and going through all this with me. TNA Slammiversary was a show. And I don't regret watching it. It was good. It had some good stuff on it. Considering like all the wrestling I've been watching lately, it wasn't a fantastic show. It was good. It was fine. But anyway, to all of you out there, please like, subscribe, follow, do whatever you want to do. And I appreciate it. Hit me up on social media. I am most active on X, but I do reply to all comments on YouTube and Rumble, so you can hit me up on there as well. What the hell am I doing? If you're watching the video form of this, I very much apologize. Good God, I was trying to do something else here, and prepare for the end of the stream. But next week, like I said, it's probably going to be Dark Side of Wrestling History. Episode 4 is going to be a big one. I'm going to go into Vince McMahon. It's probably going to be a two-parter because I covered a lot of stuff. I tried to cover the 80s, the 90s, the 2000s, and then him getting ousted from WWE. But there's a lot more darkness to Vince McMahon. And I know he's the Walt Disney of wrestling. He's, a lot of people have a lot of fond memories of him and yada, yada, yada. But there's still a lot of darkness to Vince McMahon. I mean, let's be honest, people. So episode 4 is going to be a longer one, I think, than what you've been used to if you've been keeping up with the Dark Side of Wrestling History. I've got 3 episodes out there already. The first one is just random stuff. I got stuff from the Territory days, or like way back, even before the Territories. I got stuff. I have Pat Patterson is involved in there as well. Mitsuharu Misawa. Episode 2 focuses on what was episode 2? I don't even remember now. That was I think episode 2 was Lucha Libre, where I go to Mexico and I cover Antonio Pena, CMLL, and AAA's split and feud. I cover La Parca and his feud with AAA and the new La Parca, his passing and whatever. And there's somebody I'm missing that I had in there as well. Perro Aguayo Jr. I cover him and his life and untimely passing. This past episode was all Japanese wrestling, so I got I got Ricky Dozan, who's like the godfather of Japanese wrestling. The unfortunate Yakuza Mafia influence on Japanese professional wrestling. I talk about Hayabusa and the tragedy of his career and the end of his life, and Hana Kimura, and the taking of her life and what the terrible things that led up to that and whatever. So I cover all that in the first 3 episodes. Episode 4 is going to be Vince McMahon. It's going to be a big one. I've got a lot of ideas for future episodes. Vince McMahon, like I said, is probably going to be a two-parter. I had written down some other episode ideas. I want to do one that's kind of like not on a person per se, but kind of like on events and companies or whatever. And I know this first one's kind of been covered a lot. I'm trying to stay away from things that have been covered to death in documentaries and Dark Side of the Ring and whatever. But some of these will be repeats. I wanted to do one. It's kind of the fall of AWA and of Vern Gagne personally. I want to talk about the failed invasion angle in WWE and how just like it was doomed from the start. The failure of the NWO in WWE, which, by the way, there's a full podcast now in the archives. It was a bonus show. If you look for it in the archives, we cover the NWO's entire tenure in WWE. We break it down, analyze it. And also, I want to talk about the Heroes of Wrestling pay-per-view. If anybody's ever heard of that, man, it sucked. It was awful. Had a bunch of legends on there that were way, way, way past their prime and out of shape. And Jake the Snake was on some substances, we'll say, and making some lewd gestures and whatnot. It was embarrassing. Yokozuna was gigantic and couldn't really move. It was awful, but I'll talk about that as well. I wanted to do an episode just on women that have had some not so great times in the wrestling business and met untimely demises. Ashley Mazzaro, Chyna, Miss Elizabeth. I'm taking suggestions, by the way, if anybody throws one out there. It's something that I don't want to have a Dark Side of the Ring episode on it. So something different, something that hasn't been covered to death. No pun intended, sorry. I wanted to do one episode where I kind of talk about some lesser known stuff, or lesser covered, not lesser known, but lesser covered ones like Draws, Crash Holly, John Laurinaitis is in his downfall, and then there were two pretty famous plane crashes of wrestlers in 1975. One of them where Ric Flair broke his back and they thought like he'd never wrestle again, and it messed with him for the rest of his career. And I wanted to touch on kind of bigger stars that had some dark past to them. Scott Hall, Psycho Sid, the downslopes of Bret Hart's career, and Mike Awesome. Ones like that. I don't know. I was thinking about Sean O'Hare, but I don't know if there's enough meat on the bone for a even for a couple of minutes. There might be. I'm toying with that idea. Same thing with Crash Holly. I don't know if there's enough meat on the bone for a full Crash Holly, even if it's just a minute or two. But there might be. I didn't think. I don't know, even because like with the Perro Aguayo Jr. episode or segment that I did for the episode, his wasn't. I think it was 2.5 minutes. I talked about him. Most of it was good stuff, and then it was only towards the end where it got really dark. So, there are a few segments like that where it's really not all that dark. The Vince McMahon stuff. I mean, obviously, there's a lot of great stuff I could cover about his life and his career. But there is a ton of darkness, and that's what I'm diving into. Different stories, rumors, innuendos, and the first episode is not the first segment is not rumor and innuendo at all. The first episode 4 that I'm going to do about him is 100% factual stuff as far as like it was brought to the court of law, even if he didn't get convicted for it. He was tried for it. It was out there. It's not just some guy in a shoot interview saying, "Hey, Vince McMahon." Anyway, hold on one second here. All right, can't mute that. Well, anyway, I will sign off with that, and thank you all for tuning in. I got to answer that work call, unfortunately. But next week's Dark Side of the Wrestling History, Episode 4 on Vince McMahon. Check that out. I'll see you next week. Later.